What is up, Alien Army? I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore. And on this channel, we discuss everything out of this world. So today's topic, we are going to be talking about astrology, and this is something, I think it might be information that's already out there, but you know,
I'm gonna put my own little spin on it just from what I channeled, because that's how I fucking roll. You already know it.
So here we go. Here's a little bit of a breakdown about the planets in astrology, as well as the celestial bodies, the sun and the moon. If you are familiar with my content, you know that I say so many motherfucking times that we have planets that are in the astrological natal chart. We also have celestial bodies. So the sun and the moon do not count as planets, even though people just kind of lump them together and call them planets, but they are actually not. They are luminaries. And luminaries are separate from planets because the luminaries are meant to really illuminate the sun, the outer persona, the moon, the inner persona. Okay. So if we want to take into this context, we can go back to before the universal planets were discovered, because just a quick thing where I wanted to talk about this, maybe I'll make a whole video about it, I don't know yet.
I never know what I'm doing her until I actually do it, and then I fucking know.
So this was actually information that came through a few days ago, talking about the outer planets, the generational planets, which are Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. These actually came into discovery when the collective was rising above the consciousness that was instilled with the other planets, at least astrologically speaking. It's like new planets needed to be added, and you best believe that new planets are going to be added. I've visited some of them astrologically.
Maybe another video too.
But we'll see, right? So as the collective evolved, the planets, the main planets, the 7 that are considered, you know, for the 7 days of the week, they were there, but guess what? The collective energy started rising, and then that's when the discovery of the 3 new planets had to happen so that they could incorporate more, because the collective was ready for more self-discovery in terms of their astrological chart. Okay, so that's why the universal planets were discovered after, and that's why the archaic definitions of the planets are going to be the ones that I'm talking about today. So just throw that in there. There you go. So going back to the archaic definitions. Now, if we notice that we have 7 days of the week, and they are all for the sun and the moon and the other planets. And in Vedic astrology, even today, these are the only ones that are used. Pluto is not used, Neptune is not used, and Uranus is not used. So we're going to rewind. We're going to go back in time a little bit. We're going to talk about the sun and the moon, the luminaries. And we're also going to be talking about how the planets actually governed 2 signs. So the moon governs Cancer, and this is all about receptive energy and being inside the emotions and emotional tides and emotional currents and things like that. The sun governs Leo, and Leo is all about the outer persona, the outer image, the exuberance, the creativity, like look at me, shine on me, things like that. The moon shines via the light that the sun gives off. That is why the moon in astrology is considered to be like the hidden realm, because it doesn't give off any light as its own. And the sun is like the major look at me, because it's the sun is always shining, right? So we have those going on with the signs of Leo and Cancer, because Leo, being governed by the sun, is very much in congruence with like that flamboyant expression of their outer self, their personality. And moon with Cancer, this is someone who is actually very intuitive and emotional, but a lot of times they might not know how to express it accurately because their emotions can sometimes overwhelm them. That is the 2 that, if we want to put the sun and the moon together in the chart with the similarities, the sun and the moon are not planets. They are more of like the nature of the way that the individual expresses themselves. It's like the outer sun, that's how they're expressing who they know they are, but the inner, that's how they feel, who they feel they are. Okay, so that's with them. Now, moving along to the other planets, let's go into the way that the other planets have similarities to the two signs that they ruled over in archaic times. Let's start with Mars. So Mars in archaic times governed the signs Aries and Scorpio. Okay, now in modern times we have that Pluto is the governor of Scorpio. But in the archaic times, the similarities between the signs which Mars linked together, why Mars has governance over them, is that fire, is that warrior type of energy. Okay, so Mars, planet, god of war, aggression, conflict, all of that. Aries, Scorpio, the signs, though they may be different, one is fire, one is water, what's connecting them is that ancient link to Mars, and that is the governance of a warrior energy, whether it's someone who is flamboyant in their actions of aggression with that fire energy, or whether someone is emotionally riled up and takes a little bit longer to explode than the Aries, because Aries, cardinal fire, war, boom, immediate explosion. Scorpio, fixed water, internal feelings, bubbling up, boom, explodes after. But both of them have the similarity of Mars. That is why Mars, in a nutshell, it had governance over these two signs in archaic terms. So if we want to look at Venus, Venus archaically governed Taurus and Libra. So we have fixed earth, we have cardinal air. But the similarities that we have betwixt the signs of Taurus and Libra are the love of finer things. We have charm, we have social graces, we have stepping out, dressed to kill, all of that type of stuff. It's very image conscious, both of these signs. The way that they go about expressing themselves is quite different though. Taurus, fixed earth, they are quite possessive of their things in their environment because they appreciate their things and they treasure their things. They want to take care of their things. They want their things to look nice because they acquired them and they like that aesthetic. Aesthetic is the commonality of Venus, which is linking Libra and Taurus. And with the Libra, how the Venus is being expressed is more in terms of conversation. So a Taurus can get rowdy in conversation just because they're fixed earth, so they're going to be more direct and blunt, but they're still not want to make a faux pas. They're gonna want to have proof that they know what the fuck they're talking about, so they don't come off like a clown. Libra is also going to be very socially gracious and having the right thing to say in the right way, at the right place, at the right time, but they're with their whole social mannerisms and how they come off, they're going to have more of the perception of how the other perceives them, how that other views the aesthetic and the conversation of that Venusian Libra quality. So Venus has the aesthetic, they have the love, they have the romance, they have that sensuality, but the way that it's being expressed is Taurus might express love and sensuality through physical actions and gifts. Libra might express their sensuality through conversations, words of encouragement, and being around someone in their social graces, bringing someone into their group of friends, so to speak. Next we have Mercury. So Mercury archaically governed the signs Gemini and Virgo, and Gemini mutable air, Virgo is mutable earth. So Mercury mutable, yes, Mercury is governing two mutable signs because that's how Mercury fucking rolls, but the similarities and the differences are quite interesting. So they're both mercurial, they're both mutable, which essentially equates to easily swayed or easily changeable. It can be by some looked at as fickle. Ain't nothing wrong with being fickle, okay? I'm fickle.
That means nothing's set in stone, motherfucker.
So we have Gemini over here, their thoughts are very changeable, their thoughts are very malleable. The way that they converse with people can adapt quickly to any situation, because remember, Mercury is quick, he a fast motherfucker. Then we have over here with the Virgo, the similarity is that Virgo can be very, very abrupt, and that is part of the mutable nature. So you could be having a conversation with a Virgo, they don't like what the fuck you said, they just gonna walk away. And no explanation needed, they just out, and you're like, what the fuck? Even though it's Earth, it's mutable Earth governed by Mercury, so Mercury is intellectual based. So if there's something going on that they don't like physically, they're just going to vacate whatever the fuck is going on. Whereas Gemini, with that mercurial energy with the air, they'll communicate. So that's why Gemini can sometimes have a sort of like a, I can't believe that came out of your mouth type of thing, especially with like an unevolved like Gemini anything. It's more of like, whoa, I can't believe you just said that. And the Gemini is like, what? But I thought it. It's like quick. It's just immediate, going to conduct themselves intellectually by verbiage. And then Virgo is just going to immediately conduct themselves intellectually by action. So that is how Mercury is connecting these two signs. They can also be lost in their head a lot because Mercury is very, very cerebral, and their thoughts can change in an instant. So this is why Virgo has that like perfectionist reputation, and also Gemini can have a perfectionist reputation, even though you wouldn't notice it as you might in a Virgo placement. But a Gemini can be very, very perfectionist, want everything, especially the way that they are conducting themselves in their speech. So both of these signs with that mercurial vibe is going to be a great linguistic type of individual. They're going to know what to say and how to say it in order for the situation to best suit them. Or sometimes they just might not say anything at all because that is what they decided best suited them in the moment. Next we have Jupiter, which archaically governed Sagittarius and Pisces. So Jupiter,
We're for it though, Jupiter.
Jupiter is the planet of luck and benevolence and prosperity and abundance and all of this good shit coming to you, okay? Jupiter is like fucking gravitational gold. So how does this play out in the sign of Sagittarius as compared to Pisces? So what these two signs have in common is Jupiter. There seems to be an optimism no matter what the fuck is going on around them. This is quite noticeable in Sagittarius, especially because it's mutable fire. It's uplifting on its own. It's not easily tied down. It's not easily held back. And because it's fire, it has a natural enthusiasm. So you can really see the effect of Jupiter with Sagittarius. Now, with Pisces, it might be a little more subtle because it's mutable water. Again, we have two mutables, so very changeable. It simply just means that it's malleable. It can go with the flow when it wants to, and it can be aggressive here, it can be submissive there, whatever it feels like doing. It's just in the moment for the mutables. So with Pisces, we have this jovial optimism, not necessarily in terms of action like Sagittarius. Like they'll be like, okay, they're in whatever mood, and they're like, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna party, I'm gonna have me a good time. That's the optimism of Sagittarius energy. They're gonna physically do something that makes them feel good, whereas the optimism of the sign of Pisces is going to be more do something that, or think about something, or fantasize about something that is going to make them feel that positivity. They might not express it on the outside the way that a Sagittarius would, but they are going to do things internally, because remember, the emotions, Pisces is water, is they're going to do things that make them feel better. So whatever in the moment is going to make them feel better, putting on some music, sipping something, whatever the fuck, calling a friend, going out for coffee. There's a lot of things that make Pisces anything feel good, because remember, they're mutable and they have a lot of different interests, same as Sagittarius. Sagittarius wants to feel good. Am I going skydiving today, or am I climbing a mountain today? What am I doing? It varies, right? Just like it varies for the Pisces. So with the Pisces placement, it's about that jovial optimism being maintained in how they feel. With that Sagittarius energy with Jupiter, it's that jovial optimism, how they are maintaining their daily actions or physical actions. That is what links them with the sign of Jupiter. So the difference would be is that when Pisces anything, they're not feeling something. Their number one objective is to how do they raise their feeling? How do they raise their emotions? With Sagittarius, their number one thing is acting out viscerally, physically, that which makes them be in a good mood. Now we have Capricorn and Aquarius governed by Saturn. So with Saturn and the similarity betwixt Capricorn and Aquarius, now with Capricorn we have cardinal earth, with Aquarius we have fixed air. You wouldn't think they're too much alike, right? But the similarities which Saturn governs over Capricorn and Aquarius are actually seriousness and stability. Now, a lot of motherfuckers, when they think about Aquarius, they're thinking about someone who's a little bit head in the clouds. They're a little bit flighty. They're a little bit spacey, right? Because I'm not saying that they can't come off that way, but they are actually very grounded and stable. I was like,
Aquarius are so grounded and stable.
Someone looked at me like I was a fucking psychopath. They're like,
you think Aquarius are grounded and stable?
I mean, I have no earth signs, so to me Aquarius are grounded and stable. But anyway, the thing that links Capricorn and Aquarius is actually their seriousness and their dedication to something. So both of these signs, we have cardinal earth here. They want to build with whatever materials are presented in front of them. And we have Aquarius, which is they want to fixate upon a thought, right? With that fixed air shit. They both want something constructive to come out of what they're doing. They have that seriousness to actually put an idea forward, okay? So the thing that links them is actually their dedication to a task. When a Capricorn is dedicated to a task, there ain't nothing that's gonna stop them from fucking achieving their goal. They're just gonna use whatever materials they have on the earthly plane. They're gonna keep moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. Cardinal earth, remember, utilization of earthly materials to move forward and to build. They're serious, they're taking it seriously, that which they want to build in the third dimensional earthly plane. With Aquarius, how that Saturn is operating, the serious of their thoughts. Have you ever spoken to an Aquarius and you disagreed with them, and then you tried telling them that they should change their mind to see your perspective? Oh, hell no, that ain't happening, motherfucker. You ain't changing an Aquarius anything mind. Once the Aquarius decides that their thought works for them and it makes sense to them, that's it. Done deal. You are not going to deter them from building upon that thought and fixating on that thought and having that thought be prevalent in their experience. And this is also a state of mind. So a lot of times an Aquarius, this is why they have that reputation of being individualistic, because once their thought makes sense to them, that is going to become a general state of their being, and they are just going to operate from there. And it's not going to matter what anyone else says, does, or thinks, because they, in that seriousness, linking it to Saturn, they take themselves seriously no matter what they're doing, no matter what they're thinking, no matter what state of being they're in. And ain't nobody else going to fuck with that. Just like when a Capricorn has that seriousness of Saturn and they are in there and they're building their fucking dream life from the tools that were given to them on the 3D plane, ain't nobody deterring that Capricorn from building their motherfucking dream life. That's not gonna happen. So we have tenacity.
I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. Don't care.
We have tenacity, and you might not associate that as easily with the sign of Aquarius as you would with the sign of Capricorn, just because it's earth, so it's going to be more in your physical face what a Capricorn is about when they're building something. But if you've ever had a conversation with an Aquarius, anything, and you're trying to change their mind, you're trying to get them to change their state of being, their viewpoint, oh, that's serious, that shit is going to come out and bite you in the motherfucking ass. yeah, that's the similarities between the archaic governors and the signs that they rule. So it's really very interesting when you look at it, how like the sun and the moon are actually emotions and ego expression, and then the other signs, they do have similarities betwixt them, even though that planet's energy is expressed in different ways betwixt those two signs. So that's what I got for you today. Thank you for joining me on this stroll through astrology. I am Oculus, the alien next door. We will chit chat again soon.